Have you ever started something with full determinations, only to end up right back where you started? You began working out, waking up early, reading every day, and for a while, it actually worked. But then came a tough day, a little pain, a distraction, a slip, and just like that, it all fell apart. If that's ever happened to you, take a deep breath because it's not your fault. It's the model they taught you. Most people were never taught how a habit truly works, so they keep spinning between attempts and setbacks, between promises and excuses, between motivation and frustration. Today, you're going to understand the invisible mistake that makes so many people fail, even with the best of intentions. And more than that, I'm going to show you how habits stay alive on the hard days when there's no motivation, when your energy is gone, and when life pushes back. This is the part no one teaches, but Napoleon Hill discovered it almost a century ago. You are not what you do once in a while. You are what you consistently repeat with intention. From this moment on, you'll understand how to create lasting change without relying on willpower, without guilt, without having to start over every 3 months. Now it's time to uncover what's been holding you back and how to overcome it. Ready? Then let your journey of transformation begin now. Part 2. The mistake almost everyone makes. Most people still believe that keeping a habit depends on willpower. But let me tell you the truth. Willpower is like a matchstick. It burns bright for a moment, but it can't keep the fire alive for weeks. It shows up on the good days, but disappears exactly when you need it the most. On the ordinary days, on the stressful days, on the days life pushes back. And real life is made mostly of ordinary days. So if you depend on motivation or willpower to maintain a habit, you're already starting at a disadvantage. Modern behavioral science has made this clear. Authors like James Clear, Charles Duhigg, and Napoleon Hill all reached the same conclusion. Habits don't grow from emotion. They grow from repetition, and they're strengthened by structure. What sustains a habit is not motivation. It's what comes before and after the action, the right trigger, a simple execution, and a reward that reinforces the path. But there's something even more powerful behind long-lasting habits, something that turns a behavior into an identity. That's where most people get it wrong. They say things like, I want to be disciplined. I want to be focused. I want to stay consistent. But the brain doesn't respond well to vague wishes. It responds to clear definitions of identity. You don't need to say, I want to be disciplined. You need to affirm, I'm the kind of person who takes disciplined action, even if you're still learning how to be that person. Because once your habit becomes part of who you are, you stop fighting it and you start repeating with less effort, less doubt, and no need for constant motivation. Part 3, the real reason you fall back it and how to reprogram your identity. Have you ever said, I know what I need to do, I just can't stay consistent? Or maybe, I always start strong, but somehow I end up back where I started. This happens more often than you think, and it's not because you're lazy, it's not because you lack discipline, and it's definitely not because you're weak. The deeper reason is this: you're still operating with your old identity. What is identity, and how does it control your habits? Your identity isn't just your name or your job title. Identity is what you believe about yourself in the silence of your mind. It's the inner script you keep repeating, like, I'm anxious. I've never been good at routines. I'm not the disciplined type. I always give up halfway. These are not just thoughts. They are invisible commands. And your brain, no matter how powerful, will do everything it can to prove those beliefs true. That's why people sabotage themselves even when they genuinely want to change. The body tries to move forward, but the mind is still stuck in who you used to be. The cycle of invisible identity. You believe you're not capable. You act in a limited way. You fail. As expected, you reinforce the old identity. The cycle repeats. But here's the truth: identity is not fixed, it's built. And habits are not just behaviors, they are daily votes for the person you want to become. How to change your identity in practice without empty motivation. Here's a simple, powerful process you can start today. 1. Choose the new identity you want to build. Example, I'm the kind of person who takes care of my body, or I'm someone who finishes what I start. Write that statement down. Keep it visible. Say it out loud every day, even if it feels awkward at first. Two, link a small habit to that identity. If you want to be healthy, drink 1 glass of water when you wake up. If you want to be disciplined, write 1 sentence in your journal. If you want to be focused, charge your phone outside the bedroom. It doesn't need to be impressive, it needs to be consistent. Three, reinforce it with a validation ritual. Mark an X on your calendar. Say out loud, that's another vote for who I'm becoming. Breathe deeply and mentally acknowledge, I'm changing. This is what Napoleon Hill would call directed autosuggestion with purpose. It's how you rewrite who you are, one intentional action at a time. Viewer action step, grab a pen and paper. Answer these 3 questions. Who do you want to become? 1 sentence in the present tense. What's the smallest habit that proves it? How will you validate it daily? Place your answers where you'll see them. And for 7 days, don't break the chain. If you follow this, even in the smallest way, you'll stop forcing new habits and start embodying a new version of yourself. And that's when consistency becomes effortless. Part 4, how to protect your habit on hard days. By now, you've understood that the problem was never you. It was the model you were taught, and that maintaining a habit requires more than just good intentions. It demands identity, repetition, and awareness. But now we've arrived at the most critical part of this journey, the place where most people fall, and where you, if you stay aware, will set yourself apart. Because the real challenge isn't starting, it's continuing when everything seems to be working against you. And it will happen. There will be days when you wake up exhausted, days when life feels heavy, days when your old self tries to pull you back into your old patterns. On those days, you don't need motivational quotes. You need a protection plan. I call this the minimum viable consistency. And here's how it works. You don't need to do your best. You just need to not break the rhythm. If your goal is to read 10 pages and the day is hard, read 1. If your goal is to train for 30 minutes and you're out of energy, stretch for 5. If you write every day and can't focus, write 1 paragraph. The mission is not performance. It's to preserve your bond with your new self. This small gesture done on the hardest days is what turns a habit into a pillar, and it's what creates a resilient mindset. But there's one more element that most people never apply, and it separates those who stay consistent from those who quit. It's something I call emotional contingency planning. You must decide before the storm comes what you will do when difficulty inevitably arrives. Examples: if I'm too tired, I'll do 3 minutes of something simple. If I can't follow plan A, I already know what my plan B is. If I miss a day, I won't judge myself. I'll simply pick up where I left off. This decision, made in moments of clarity, is what protects you in moments of chaos. Now, here's your practice for today. Take a sheet of paper and write 3 sentences. 1, if I'm too tired to, then I will. 2, if I miss a day, the next day I will. 3, even on my worst days, I'm the kind of person who, keep it. Read it out loud. Use it when needed, because this is not about perfection. It's about presence with purpose. Every day you choose to continue, even at 10%, you are telling your mind, I'm in charge, not my mood, not my laziness, not my doubts. And that repetition, especially on the hard days, is what builds more than habits. It builds character, strength, and self mastery. Next, I'll show you how to turn all of this into a permanent identity. Let me know, and I'll continue with the final part. Part 5, how to turn your habit into a permanent identity. You've made it this far. And that alone already sets you apart from most, because most people want change, but they won't commit to repetition. They want results, but they abandon the process halfway. They want a new life, but insist on keeping the same mind. But you're going beyond that. You're building step by step a new pattern of who you are. And this is where everything changes, because the real goal is not just to keep a habit, it's to make that habit part of you. After all, you don't brush your teeth because you're motivated. You do it because it's who you are. That's how your new behaviors must become. And that only happens when you realize repetition doesn't just create routine, it shapes identity. Each time you practice the new habit, you're not just executing a task, you're reinforcing a belief. I am the kind of person who does this. And the more you repeat it, the more your brain accepts it as truth, until what once felt like effort becomes a natural part of how you function. This is why real transformation doesn't demand perfection. It demands presence, repetition, and intention. But here's a step almost no one talks about. You must protect this new identity because it's still fragile, still under construction. So every time you fail, and yes, you will fail at some point, don't criticize yourself, don't label yourself, and above all, don't break the bond with your new self. Instead, say, this doesn't change who I'm becoming. I start again now with even more awareness. Next, I'm going to show you a simple practice to help you solidify this new identity in just a few minutes a day. A daily anchor that will help your mind recognize and sustain who you're becoming until the change stops being an effort and becomes the most authentic expression of who you are. Let me know when you're ready for this final piece. Final segment, daily identity consolidation practice. Now that you've learned how habits are formed and how they shape your identity, there's one final piece, a daily reinforcement ritual. Something simple, practical, repeatable, because it is through conscious repetition that your new self takes root. Here's what you'll do. Grab a notebook or a loose sheet of paper. Write by hand. No shortcuts, no typing. Write this sentence. I am the kind of person who fill in the blank with a behavior that represents who you are becoming. Examples. I am the kind of person who acts with focus. I am the kind of person who takes care of my body. I am the kind of person who finishes what they start. Then right below that, write a second line. Today I proved this when in that space, record what you did today that supports this identity. Even if it was small, even if it only took 2 minutes, this ritual takes less than 2 minutes, but it sends a powerful message to your brain. This is who I am. And here's the real proof. Do this every day for the next 7 days. Don't skip. Don't aim for perfection. Just repeat, because repetition is the language of the mind. And through repetition, with intention, you write a new self. Next, I'll guide you through the final thoughts of this journey. But remember, it's not what you know that transforms you, it's what you repeat. Final considerations. If you've made it this far, then there's something inside you that wants more direction, more self-mastery, more truth. And now you have something that most people never get: clarity, awareness of what's truly holding you back, and what you can start doing right now to break free. But remember, this transformation doesn't happen in one video. It happens in what you do after the video ends. So if this content spoke to you, leave a comment below and complete this sentence. I am the kind of person who... Fill it in with the identity you've chosen to build. Let this be your first public affirmation. And trust me, it will strengthen you. And if you want to keep walking this path, subscribe to the channel, because everything that comes next is designed to help you become exactly who you were meant to be.